So I used to feel like a fraud charging $2,000. And a couple of years later, I signed one client for $28,000 a month. It wasn't that I became 14 times more valuable overnight. It wasn't also because I added 50 services to my offer. I just understood how to price and position my services correctly. The big myth is that the only way you can scale is to get more leads. In the last 2 years, I've worked with over 300 agencies. I've tested everything. And I can tell you, bar none, that the number one way to grow the fastest is to increase your prices. You literally make more revenue by doing less work. If you're sitting there thinking, yeah, but this all just sounds too good to be true, well, it's one of those rare mysteries in business that actually isn't. You just need to know the right strategy. Luckily for you, I've spent the last 7 years testing everything out. So I'll show you the 5 techniques that took me from charging $2,000 to $28,000 a month. I'm going to start with the most important: how to raise the prices for your current customers. Now, if you've got a few clients, just imagine this. You can raise the price by 20% on everyone. Imagine the impact that has on your business. So how do you do it? Now, think over the last few years. Your rent, the petrol that you put into your car, groceries, everything is slowly and surely increasing with price. And how do we measure that? Well, it's inflation, but it's also backed by the CPI, which is what we call the Consumer Price Index. Now, it might all sound quite technical, that, but ultimately, it gives you a lot of logic to go to your customers and to tell them something along the lines of, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Client, we've kept the pricing flat for X amount of years, but now we are increasing our prices to ensure that we keep the highest quality service and we can reinvest and hire even better team members. And we're doing this in line with the Consumer Price Index. If you say your clients to the call that you're doing it to get them better results, they're not going to turn around and say, no, please can I have worse results, are they? So make it about them and back it with the CPI. Now, if you don't want to be as upfront, there is also another option where you can turn this round into actually them signing a longer term contract. So what you can say is, we appreciate that you're one of our legacy clients. So even though we are raising the prices for all of our other clients, we want to reward loyalty. So if you put pen to paper on a 90-day, 6, maybe even 12-month contract, we'll lock in your current rate. Obviously, that now turns out as a gift to them. And then after that, you can raise your prices. And what this does is it locks in 6, 12 months of cash flow. And okay, you couldn't raise your prices by 20% with this client, but you didn't have that anyway before. And now you've got 12 months locked in cash flow. How good is that? And just to clarify, I also always recommend doing this on calls. Don't do it over Slack or email because they might have some questions. And you obviously want to make sure that you keep the relationship strong with your clients. Now I'm going to show you technique 2 of how to start increasing prices with new clients. And online business owners and agency owners always ask me, should I just have one pricing when I'm selling, or should I have different packages? I always recommend packages. Why? Because then you can do price anchoring. It's psychologically proven that if you have a higher anchor, something that's more expensive, it makes your current service look like a better deal. Imagine a BMW, the German car. It's a good car, right? And on its own, it's a fairly expensive car. A brand new BMW probably costs like $60,000, $70,000, which on its own, you think, wow, yeah, that's quite an expensive luxury car. But if you put it next to a brand new Bugatti, then now the BMW looks like a great deal. And that's exactly what you do with your service. So if you have a service that, let's say, is $2,000 a month, what you do is you include a service, a premium service, to the right of it, this will be on your sales deck, of $7,500, $10,000. Something that's literally 5 times more expensive, because then it shows to people that, yeah, we charge a lot more money, so they think you're more premium. It mentally tricks you into thinking, wow, yeah, I'm the kind of person and the kind of company that does charge that. But most importantly, it makes your current service look like a better option and a better deal. And the really good part is that means you can increase your prices. So instead of being $2,000, you could increase it to $2,500 or $3K or even $4K. And if you put it next to the $10,000 option, it actually looks cheaper than what it was before when it was $2,000. And what do you include in your new premium service? More one-to-one support, more of what you currently have, and maybe you can have some adjacent options. The thing is, most people aren't going to buy it, probably 10% max. It's just there as a price anchor. Remember when I told you at the start, I went from a 2K to a 28K month retainer? Well, this is one of the main things that helped me get there. It just so happened that this potential client did take the premium option, which I was quite surprised by at the time, let me tell you. But the other reason that they went with the 28K a month option is because of Technique 3, and that's pricing against value. We need to make your service a no-brainer. Now, if I came to you and I said, I can make you $1 million extra a month in revenue, and I'm going to charge you $10,000 for that. Well, you probably say, yeah, that's a great deal, Nigel. Let's do it. The thing is, when I ask my clients, how much value do you bring to your clients? They have no idea. This is where you need to track client results, because then let's say that you do make $100,000 extra every 1 to 2 months. You can literally go from charging 2K to 10,000 a month, and it's a great return on investment. One of my clients, Stephen, he was running a Google Ads agency. He basically had 20 clients. He was charging $500-$600 a month on average, and he came to me and said, Nigel, I need more leads. And I was like, do you? We then tracked one of his clients, how much extra revenue he brought them. He'd made them $1 million in revenue in 6 months. So I asked him, Stephen, do you think if we increase the prices from 600 to, let's say, 2,000, it will be a good return on investment for them? And I could see in his face, he was literally starting to get angry because he understood how much he'd been undercharging. And after you've tracked the revenue with your clients, you might be having that moment too. So what did we do? We increased the prices for nearly all of his clients, and hey presto, he doubled the size of his agency in a matter of weeks. So understand how much value, how much revenue you bring to your customers, and then price your service in line with that. Technique 4 is a little bit more controversial, but if you implement this, it will skyrocket your confidence. And it's saying no more. And what does that have to do with increasing your prices? Well, the question and the objection to raising prices I always get is, yeah, but Nigel, then my close rate will drop. And the answer is yes, it will. And that's fine. In example A, the company is pricing at $2,000 and their close rate is 40%. Now, they've got 10 prospects in their pipeline, so they close 4, they make $8,000. Now, let's say it costs $1,000 to fulfill that service. So for the 4 clients, that's $4,000. So that means you got $4,000 in profit. Now, in the other example, company B, they raise the price from $2,000 to $4,000. And because of that, their close rate drops from 40% all the way down to 20%. So the same 10 prospects, now only 2 close, but because obviously they doubled the price, they still get the $8,000 for literally half the amount of work. But it gets even better. With the same 1K fixed cost to deliver the service, because they've got 2 prospects and obviously had $8,000 in revenue, that's now $6,000 in profit. So not only is it half the amount of work, half the amount of clients and messages and everything else onboarding to deal with, it's literally $2,000 more in profit. Now, that's only for 2 clients. Imagine if you scale with that kind of model. And this is why only saying yes to the right prospects that pay more money is one of the best strategies. So how can you actually implement this? We need to understand the qualification parameters around the clients that get the best results for your service and the ones you enjoy in working with the most. So if you do have clients, look at the top 20%. What is it about these people? How much revenue do they make? What is their marketing budget? Do you talk to the founder? Is it someone else in the business? What kind of business is it? What industry? How many years of experience they've got? These are all identifiers that you need to put into your sales process and say, if they're not this, we say no. One of the hardest things in business when you're scaling, you're below 100K a month, someone is ready to buy, the cash is there in front of you, and you've got to say no. But do you know what that does? That gives you ultimate conviction to everyone you say yes to. Not only will you deliver better results, not only will you make way more cash because of the formula I've already shown you, you'll actually also become more in demand. Because when you say to someone, we can't work with you, what do you think they now want to do more? They want to work with you because you are in demand. You respect yourself and you gain that reputation in the marketplace. Technique 5 is still to do with prices, but it's slightly different, but it will make you a lot of cash flow if you do it correctly. So providing that you deliver a fantastic service and you get your client amazing results, then what you can do is say, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Client, it's been great working together for the last 3 months, and we'd love to build a long-term partnership together. And then what you need to do is you need to put together a report forecasting out over the next 12 months and the data you've already got and the data you get with other clients, how much value, revenue, you think you can make them in that time period. And you basically jump on a call and say, hey, this is what we've done so far. This is what we think we can do together over the next 12 months. Once you've mapped it out, then you can say, so we want to build this long-term partnership. We know you can make you X amount more over the next 12 months. And we actually want to put a special offer in place that we don't usually do for other people. Let's say you're charging $2,000. So over the next 12 months, it's $24,000. You can say to them, you can sign it now and we'll do it for $20,000. So you get 2 months for free. We sign that 12-month contract. The reason why this works for both parties is, one, it's great for them because obviously they save a load of money. And for you, it's great because by the time you get to that 12 months, you'll have already used that cash flow if you're obviously smart at business, and you'll have invested that into team members, invested that into marketing, building out your foundation stronger. So you'll get a much higher return on that money if you get the cash now. Now, I have one more bonus tip for you that isn't quite like the rest. I know this sounds a bit cliche, but click the video right here because I give you the exact blueprint to build your own 7-figure agency from scratch. So stop just chasing leads. Stop charging what you deserve.